try and have a decent interview and a conversation here. Hold on a second here.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the legendary boxing style of James "Lights Out" Toney, a master of old school techniques and an aggressive counterpuncher.
At a time, he's doing it. He said, Holyfield, oh my God, he sticks his tongue out at Evander.
James Toney's most distinctive technique was his Philly shell stance combined with his shoulder roll defense. This technique, which he adapted and perfected, involved Toney tucking his chin, raising his lead shoulder to protect the chin, and extending his lead arm to deflect punches. It allowed him to slip and counter with precision and was a hallmark of his defensive prowess. Unlike many boxers, Toney had an extraordinary ability to remain calm under pressure and read his opponent's movements, making the Philly shell as an effective tool in his arsenal. He used the Philly shell in a much more aggressive manner than most other boxers. He really focused on landing that counter, and he really emphasised being relaxed. Toney's career was studded with memorable fights against some of the toughest opponents in the business. In 1991, he fought Michael Nunn for the IBF middleweight title. He displayed exceptional head movement and counterpunching, eventually knocking out Nunn in the 11th round to claim the title. 2 years later in 1993, he fought Iran Barkley in a bout that showcased his ability. Toney moved up to super middleweight to face him. He demonstrated his defensive skills like using the Philly shell to nullify Barkley's power and managed to outfight him even in the pocket, and he secured a unanimous decision victory. 10 years later, he fought Evander Holyfield in 2003 in a high profile heavyweight fight. Despite being the smaller fighter, Toney's superior defense allowed him to outbox Holyfield, although both men were past their prime.
I'm ready for anybody. I'm coming. I'm the man in the heavyweight division. If y'all want to get the belt, y'all come see me.
James, congratulations.
Yeah. D-Block. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go back to you, Steve.
He was a very aggressive person who just loved to fight, but used defensive techniques which made him really unique and exciting to watch. Toney spent countless hours perfecting his defensive techniques. He would practice the Philly shell and shoulder roll against various punches, ensuring his reflexes were honed to perfection. Toney's sparring sessions were renowned for their intensity. He sparred with a wide range of opponents from different weight classes to adapt to their various fighting styles. Toney used a standard jab. He would throw it from wherever it was. He focused on speed and snapping the punch rather than any kind of power in the jab. The shoulder roll minimises damage from the right hand, but keeps you in range to counter. A step back is far easier and will get you further away, but it's much harder to counter the person. In addition to this, shoulder rolling can be done anywhere in the ring, whereas if you step back a lot and then you get pushed to the ropes, you can't go backwards anymore, so they've taken that away from you. They can't take away the shoulder roll. He pulls his right shoulder back, and that brings the left shoulder forward, and then he reverses that momentum by pulling his left shoulder back, which then sets up his right hand. He does this in all his fights, but it can't be much clearer than when he fought Ruiz at heavyweight. When Toney throws his right hand, he changes his head slot. You see many old school boxers do this, from as textbook as they come Joe Louis all the way to Marciano. This way they can throw a punch and not have to worry about defense in that moment, because they're using their head movement without having to even think about it. The right hand throws the head down and left toward their right arm. This smothers their right hand, making it extremely difficult for them to counter you. Toney didn't do huge combinations. He didn't punch extremely hard. He was able to knock out people from middleweight all the way to heavyweight, so obviously he had enough pop in his punches. But his best feature with his punches was he was so precise. You didn't see him miss that many punches, and when he targets the chin, he's so accurate. If you watch one of his fights, I'm sure you'll notice this. Toney loved boxing and he loved fighting, but not other aspects of training. As his career went on, he did less and less cardio and other drills, and had a huge emphasis on sparring opposed to other methods. This shows, well, a lack of discipline, which led him from being a middleweight to heavyweight, but that's Toney. And as he loved sparring, this made his reflexes and conditioning up there with the best in the sport. Although his aerobic capacity did make him rest in rounds or take rounds off. I think that is why he didn't have particularly long combinations either, because he was cautious of not fatiguing himself.
I'll fight anybody anywhere.
All right, I know you want to fight everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll articulate this. He wants to fight everybody from Bernard Hopkins at 168 up to Lewis at 245. And if I remember correctly, you said you'd fight Lewis at 210 with one hand tied behind your back, right?
No problem at all.
He's right over here.
Toney had a great record of 92 fights, 77 wins, 10 losses, 3 draws, 2 no contests. Although if he stopped his career in 2005, he would have been 69, 4 and 2 and defended his heavyweight title. He had 6 losses and a draw out of 15 fights in the remainder through to 2017. Toney loved to fight and he just didn't know when to stop, but in 92 fights and even fighting at heavyweight against men like Holyfield and Samuel Peter, he wasn't knocked out once. This can be because he had a great chin, but despite having a great chin, I believe his emphasis on sparring, building his ability to roll with punches, taught like the old school boxing methods, to minimise their impact is the reason why he wasn't knocked out. James Toney's legacy in the world of boxing is endurance. His unique blend of an aggressive Philly shell defense, shoulder roll and old school training techniques made him one of the most revered fighters of his era. Toney's influence can be seen in some styles of fighters today who seek to emulate his defensive mastery and counter-punching abilities. His impact on the sport remains a testament to his enduring power of classic boxing techniques. And there you have it, the video on James Lights Out Toney, a true craftsman of the ring. Thank you for watching.